But just these three things will carry you if you let them. First and foremost, knowing who you are.
Have you ever looked at someone massively successful and thought, they probably had it easy? Take Oprah Winfrey, billionaire, media powerhouse, global icon. But what if I told you her journey started with abuse, rejection, and crushing poverty? What if I told you she had every reason to quit and didn't? In this video, we're going deep into the raw, painful journey behind Oprah's rise. From her childhood trauma to her unshakable belief in herself. This story isn't just inspiring, it's proof that where you start doesn't have to define where you end up. Stick around. Oprah's journey is one you'll feel long after the credits roll. Oprah Winfrey wasn't just born poor, she was born into chaos. She entered the world in rural Mississippi in 1954, the daughter of a teenage mother who couldn't raise her. Her early years were spent in extreme poverty, wearing potato sacks as dresses because there was no money for clothes.
And we did a show not too long ago, and I had favorite teachers on. I just broke down because, first of all, it was the first time I realized Miss Duncan had a name other than...
Her grandmother, who took care of her early on, was strict but gave her the gift of reading. But it wasn't stability. By the time Oprah was 6, she'd already lived in multiple homes. Poverty wasn't just a backdrop, it was her entire reality. And yet, even then, her spark was obvious. She would read out loud to farm animals like she was already hosting a show. Oprah's childhood was a game of emotional hot potato. She bounced between her grandmother, her mother in Milwaukee, and eventually her father in Nashville. In Milwaukee, things got darker. She slept on the porch, dealt with neglect, and often felt invisible. These weren't just rough conditions. They were deeply unstable and unsafe. The constant moving left her with a deep yearning for structure and love. Every time she settled in, she got uprooted. But somehow, she learned to adapt. Not by shrinking, but by performing, excelling, and reading everything she could get her hands on. Education became her only anchor in a world that kept spinning out of control. Between the ages of 9 and 14, Oprah endured repeated sexual abuse by men close to her family. She kept it secret for years, buried under shame, fear, and confusion. When she finally ran away at 14, it wasn't just rebellion, it was survival. Her trauma was deep, and the scars didn't fade quickly. That pain could have destroyed her, and for a while, it almost did. But years later, she would channel it into one of her greatest strengths: empathy. Oprah's ability to listen, connect, and speak truthfully about pain didn't come from training. It came from living it. Her suffering became her superpower, the very thing that allowed her to reach others. At 14, Oprah became pregnant. The baby was born prematurely and died shortly after. It was a devastating chapter, one she rarely spoke about publicly until much later. In the eyes of many, especially in her community, this should have been the end of her future. But instead of collapsing under the weight of shame, she slowly rebuilt herself. After moving in with her father Vernon in Nashville, everything began to change. He enforced discipline, made her study, and most importantly, believed in her potential. For the first time, Oprah had structure and expectations. And for a young girl buried under trauma, that belief was everything. Once she joined speech and drama clubs in high school, Oprah found something priceless: her voice. She wasn't just good at public speaking, she was electric. Her confidence grew, and she started winning competitions. Her talent for storytelling and emotional expression became impossible to ignore. This led to her first radio job at just 17, reading the news part-time. That job opened a door. From there, she kept pushing forward, into TV, then anchoring the news, even when her appearance or tone didn't fit the mold. While others tried to fit in, Oprah's authenticity set her apart. She didn't chase the traditional path. She created her own lane. Oprah's first job as a TV news anchor in Baltimore didn't go as planned. Management told her she was too emotional, too soft, and not fit for hard news. Eventually, they demoted her, moved her to a daytime talk show that no one watched. Most people would have seen that as a career killer. Oprah turned it into her breakout moment. She connected with guests in a way no one else could. That so-called weakness became her greatest asset. Her raw, unfiltered empathy resonated with viewers. That small talk show, it led directly to her big break in Chicago, and changed the direction of daytime television forever. In 1984, Oprah moved to Chicago to host AM Chicago, a low-rated morning show. Within months, ratings exploded. Her authenticity, warmth, and fearless conversations crushed the competition. People weren't used to seeing someone who looked like Oprah commanding the screen and owning it. She wasn't polished like other hosts. She was real. That authenticity changed everything. In 1986, the show was rebranded as The Oprah Winfrey Show, and the rest is history. But make no mistake, this wasn't an overnight success. It was the result of years of pain, practice, and persistence. Oprah didn't just break into television. She broke the mold wide open. As Oprah rose to fame, she faced relentless scrutiny over her weight and appearance. Tabloids mocked her. Critics dismissed her as too emotional, too dramatic, too talk show. But instead of pretending it didn't affect her, Oprah brought those insecurities into the spotlight. She talked openly about body image, food addiction, and shame, and by doing so, helped millions feel less alone. She wasn't trying to be perfect. She was trying to be honest. In a world of airbrushed hosts, Oprah was raw and real. That vulnerability made her not just famous, it made her powerful. Her struggles weren't a weakness, they were her bond with her audience. With success, Oprah could have moved on from her past, but she didn't. She used her platform to tell hard stories: abuse, trauma, injustice, healing. She brought taboo topics into mainstream conversation. She didn't just interview celebrities, she created safe space for truth. Her show became a stage for survival, redemption, and transformation. Whether she was talking to survivors of abuse or ex-cons, Oprah didn't flinch because she'd lived it. She showed the world that healing was possible and that vulnerability was strength, not weakness. Her mission was never just ratings, it was impact. Every show, every tear, every word was rooted in something real. Oprah wasn't content with just being a host, she became a boss. In 1988, she launched Harpo Productions, gaining full ownership of her show. That move was revolutionary. She didn't just star in the show, she controlled it. Soon, she expanded into film, magazines, books, and eventually her own network, OWN. She didn't wait for permission. She built her own table. By turning personal branding into an empire, Oprah rewrote what was possible for women in media, especially Black women. Her power wasn't just in being visible, it was in owning the narrative, calling the shots, and bringing others up with her. Success didn't make Oprah forget where she came from. She's poured hundreds of millions into education, including founding the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa. Her goal: to give young girls the kind of opportunities she never had. Through scholarships, mentorship, and advocacy, she's helped countless people rise. And her message has always been consistent: you are not your past. She used her trauma as a ladder, not a cage. By investing in others, Oprah proved that true power isn't about what you take, it's about what you give. Her legacy isn't just what she built, it's who she helped build. Oprah wasn't supposed to win, not by the world's standards. Abused, rejected, poor, pregnant at 14, fired, laughed at. And yet, she didn't just rise, she soared. Today, her name is a brand, a movement, a global force. But behind the billions is a woman who earned every inch of her success the hard way. Her story proves that where you come from doesn't define where you can go, unless you let it. From dirt roads in Mississippi to dominating every screen she touched, Oprah didn't just change her life, she changed culture. Her name isn't just famous, it's unforgettable, because her journey is one of the greatest comeback stories ever told. Oprah Winfrey's life isn't just inspiring, it's a blueprint for turning pain into power. She didn't hide from her past, she used it. She didn't run from hardship, she faced it head on. And she showed the world what resilience really looks like. If her story moved you, if it made you think, feel, or believe in your own potential a little more, do me a favor, like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment with your thoughts. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that button, because we've got more real stories that remind you what's possible. Thanks for watching. You're stronger than you think.